Hello, I'm Mantastic and Fantastic, and today I'm going to be talking about the Yaoyu ranking tournament that has just gone live in North America. So, this ranking tournament features a fixed team as well as 3% crown, but all players will be able to potentially receive a Yaoyu if they're able to achieve a top 20 percentile ranking. Now, with most fixed teams, generally speaking, the playing field is evened, but unfortunately with this ranking dungeon, there are countless RNG or luck-based hurdles one must overcome on every single floor, which can make runs quite frustrating and annoying because sometimes things just go wrong and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it, you just get a bad score. But this video/article will hopefully shed some light onto what you can do to help kind of push yourself to the next level, so to speak. Now, in terms of ranking dungeons, all ranking dungeons function the same way in terms of scoring. Each combo made, like each average combo total, is worth 5,000 points. Each second remaining is 500 points. If you hit 40 million damage, you get 10,000 points, and it scales down lower because that's kind of like the damage cap for ranking dungeons. And then each active skill used to kill a floor with no combos used, like say poison or true damage, is negative 5,000 points. Now in this Yaoyu tournament, there is no buttoning potential, so we just ignore the very last credential, and we just focus on the combos, time remaining, and hitting damage cap. For the most part, you should be able to hit the damage cap with full activation and a reasonable distribution of red orbs or combos, but the main issue will now come down to your combo count and time remaining. Now, due to the fact that we have 6 floors in total, each combo made per floor is worth 5,000 divided by 6, or 833.333 repeating points. So if you are able to form another combo within, let's say, a second or less, it is definitely worth you going out of the way to do so. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head. But in all honesty, if you are trying to crown, you need to hit as many combos as really you can. And honestly, you need to pray lots to Skyfalls and RNGs. So now we are using a Xiangmei fixed team. So Xiangmei was once a very powerful and potent leader, but unfortunately power creep and time has not been kind to her. She's been basically eclipsed and left behind for leaders that are much easier to activate, who have higher burst damage potential, and who have better awakenings overall. So that's not to say that like she's a terrible card, but at least she is capable of clearing this dungeon, which is kind of the whole goal. So she has 2 distinct components to her leader skill. She has damage for healer types just unconditionally, and then damage when matching 2 heart combos. So unconditionally, if you match 0 to 1 heart combos, you have 9 times damage. If you hit 2 or more heart combos, you have 144 times damage. So you can see the damage definitely ramps up. Now, there are 2 floors in this dungeon where you don't need to actually have double heart combos to sweep, and this is because your killer awakenings are able to actually pump out enough damage to sweep the floor. Furthermore, there are numerous fire row awakenings, and that will basically enable you to deal large amounts of damage when you match Layla's row that is formed. So, for the most part, Xiangmei has an attacker killer, but you generally don't want to use her active skill unless it is necessary. If you don't have enough heart orbs present for a floor that actually needs 2 heart combos, you need to actually pop Xiangmei. Otherwise, you should try not to touch her. She also gives 1 turn of haste. Uriel has a 7 combo awakening and changes light to fire, dark to heal, and combos with Gadius. Gadius creates a 4 elemental board of fire, light, dark, and heal, and 1 turn haste. So if you touch Gadius, then Uriel, you have a bi-elemental board of fire and hearts, which is great for hitting high amounts of combos, as well as possibly cheesing your way through the blind board, because you can see the different shapes of like circles and squares. And then lastly, we have 2 Laylas who have dragon and attacker killer awakenings, and they create a row of fire orbs at the very bottom, while also having a 5-turn cooldown. And because of this 5-turn cooldown and the 6-floor dungeon, you are able to potentially use 1, maybe even 2 Laylas, depending on how many Xiangmeis you actually touched. So this is kind of the floor-by-floor strategy that I have been using. It is what I would say a reasonable template. It's not absolute truth. Like a given board will tell you what you need to do, but just having some notion of what you may need to do on each floor can help you possibly breeze through the dungeon a little more easily. So my formatting got somehow ruined, but let's not worry about that. So Hanzo on floor 1 has 3.5 million health, and then he basically can be weakened by 4 attacker killers as well as a devil killer. So basically when I include these killer symbols here, it means that you have that many killer awakenings on your team. So you have 5 effective killers against this one spawn. And because of that, you don't actually need to use 2 heart combos. If you touch Layla and get that fire row and just combo, you can sweep the floor and hopefully save yourself a bit of time in matching. Of course, if you have 2 heart combos, go for that. That's much more efficient because when you make the row, you are technically losing a single combo. On floor 2, it has 5.4 million health and dragon typing, so too much health, so you have to use 2 heart combos and a fire combo. Xiangmei if needed. Floor 3 is this terrible blue dragon. He has 40.8 million effective health because he has 75% damage reduction and he's water typing. So what I like to personally do is as soon as he makes his board changer, I pop Layla to guarantee myself that row and then make 2 heart combos and as many other combos as possible. And for the most part, unless you had just terrible distribution, you should be able to one-shot him, and that is important because remember, if you don't touch Layla, you have to make a row of 6 red orbs, which can be more time-consuming than simply just touching Layla. You might need Xiangmei as well at the same time because he may not spawn enough water orbs. Floor 4 is probably one of the worst and horrible things in this whole dungeon, and this is because they have a wonderful wood absorb. So if you look at your team, you have Uriel with a wood sub-attribute. So you'd think, well, this shouldn't be too bad, but Yamasachi is water typing, so the wood does extra damage to him, and the fact that fire does half damage, your sub-attributes are going to be tickling him and doing nothing by comparison. Uriel also has that 7 combo awakening, so if you match any wood combo, you are going to heal it and you can't kill it. So you have 2 options what you do here. You either don't match wood orbs and make sure you make 2 heart combos. You might want to touch Xiangmei if needed. And I don't know what happened to my formatting, but if there are too many wood orbs, I would pop Gadius plus Uriel. Now, most of my runs require me to use Gadius Uriel to have no wood orbs present, and you just pray there's no wood skyfall. But amusingly enough, you get, say, a perfect 10 combo board. 1 wood skyfall will heal it, and you're just very sad, unfortunately. Floor 5 gives you a preemptive blind, so your board is darkened. So you either use Gadius Uriel if they're available, so it's easier to basically overcome the blinds because you have now basically circles and squares, so you can match in that regards. Or you can use Layla for that row, because remember, Yomi has he's weak to attacker killers, and they have much less health than Hanzo, so they're easier to kill. So that Layla row and just quickly solve what is left on the board, and you can sweep the floor. And then lastly, we come to Yao Yu, who has 40 million effective health. He's weak to attacker killers, but what we need to do here is he's going to spawn 12 heart orbs in 2 rows from the second and third from the top. So what you do is you touch your Layla to get the fire row at the bottom, and then you match your 3x3 box for the follow-up attack because he has resolve, and then you match your other heart combo on the side and just pray you get Skyfalls. Most boards you get 3 combos, maybe 4, sometimes you'll even Skyfall into 5. You'll feel really proud of yourself, and then realize that this dungeon has lots of luck and RNG involved because you need to get those stank Skyfalls, as well as having enough hearts and fire orbs on basically every single floor. So again, this is kind of like the template that I use. It's not absolute truth, just use your judgment on a floor-by-floor basis, but just understanding that these tend to be good solutions for each floor can possibly help take away some of the stress and thought process out of the ranking dungeon. Now, in terms of the Jaypee score tracking, it may be a little hard to see this chart here that was created by Panda with 2 A's, but the Jaypee cutoff for a crown was 140,628, and then for Yao Yu at 20% was 133,080. So generally speaking, North America oftentimes lags behind Japan when it comes to fixed teams. However, that's not necessarily going to be an absolute truth. We may surpass them. So just kind of take this Jaypee score tracker with a grain of salt. So in conclusion, this ranking dungeon does give players the chance to have a free 300,000 monster point card if scoring 20% or higher. But unfortunately, this ranking dungeon is riddled with lots of RNG and luck factors. You need to have enough heart orbs, enough combos, enough skyfalls. Lots of things can go wrong. Don't get the wood match on floor 4. But if you are able to overcome it, or just basically throw enough attempts at it over time, you should hopefully be able to overcome all the bad luck and get one fluky run that just gives you a great score. Let me know what you think about this ranking dungeon in the comments below. Hopefully all have a Mantastic day. I wish you all the best luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.